Welcome everyone to the yet to be named MTG podcast. Alex, how are you doing?
Yep, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Dominic, you keeping well as well?
Yeah, doing fine, thanks. We've also got another guest with us today, the Will Hall EXP.
Hello.
He's a renowned caster and Twitch partner from the UK.
Renowned. I don't know if anyone's ever introduced me as renowned before, but
there you go. First time for everything.
How are we doing? We all good? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
No problem. It's our pleasure.
Why did you tell me that I had to have a big glowing light behind me, but neither of you two have got a big glowing light behind you, though?
We want you to stand out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're the special guest, you see.
The silhouette.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
almost thinking about the guest. I appreciate it.
It's a bit heavenly almost. Do you know what I mean? But just in a green way. Actually, it's a bit Beetlejuice. That's a bit on trend, but yeah.
I like Beetlejuice. It's
Me too.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's another one coming out, don't you?
To the second one.
Yeah.
There's another one coming out. I love my films. I literally love my films. I'm looking forward to that. I'm pretty sure I've seen the show at Universal Studios like 10 years ago. That's how old I am. Anyway.
Wow.
Very nice.
So, just to kick off the pot, so tell us a bit about yourself, Will, how you got into Magic and how that eventually led to you becoming a caster.
Oh, how long we got? Okay, good thing this is a podcast. I always tell people when I'm on a podcast, add an extra half hour into how long you think it's going to be. My origin story, so to speak. I started playing Magic as a kid in my local LGS. Didn't really know what it was. Just picked it up. Was playing big green creatures and losing a bunch, but having fun as you should do. Play Magic the Gathering. Then I stopped because I got into my teens, found girls, didn't come into it, drinking, etc. Then I joined the military. And then after my second tour of Afghan, I think it was, maybe first tour, I can't remember which tour it was. One of the tours of Afghan, I came back and I didn't know it at the time. Now, reflecting back, I needed somewhere to channel my mind because you're wired when you're out there, obviously, for 7 months solid. You don't really have a day off and you're always thinking. So I needed something to channel my mind into. And I was like, well, I'm going to pick up that game I played as a kid. I'm going to play that guy. And I just Googled it. Researched, where it plays it, and I just happened to turn up on an M14 pre-release. That was the event. I was like, okay, turned up on it. Some people I used to play with as a kid were there as well, and I didn't really remember them, but they remembered me, and they helped me, and they're like, okay, this is how you build a deck, and this, that, and the other, and then it just spiraled for a couple of years, and me just having fun playing competitive Magic, brewing my own decks like Mono Red Devotion and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, I want to try and get on the Pro Tour, being a competitive person just in general and in my everyday life. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I want to get on the Pro Tour. So eventually I was able to get to the Pro Tour. And then it was weird because I got to the Pro Tour and stopped playing Magic, basically. Because the point from when I qualified to the Pro Tour, when the Pro Tour was like 4 or 5 months. So I didn't really play much. It was weird and I needed something else to do. Like I achieved that goal. Now what do I do? And I was like, okay, I want to be a streamer. And streaming wasn't as big as it is now, but it was still like, it was up, it was rising. Twitch was really starting to become a phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And I was like, right, how do I become a streamer? And I was like, okay, you need to build a computer. So I researched and Googled and bought all the parts. I built my own computer. It's literally sat over there on that bit of shelf. Only just upgraded it actually, but it's lasted me for years. Which that in itself was a challenge. Did it, completed it, and then I was like, right, okay, now to research overlays and graphics and bit rates and speeds and cameras and all this sort of thing. So like all self-taught basically, made all the mistakes and learned from them and went through, and then I started doing streaming, and that was going pretty well for a while until Ukraine kicked off, and then obviously the Ukraine war kicked off, and I was like, obviously military, they're not sending us. What can I do? And I was like, okay, I'll just pit on some coverage on my stream. I'll leave my stream on for 24 hours and all the money made in that 24 hours, I'll give to Ukraine. And I was like, okay, it went really, really well. Arguably, it was better than when my face was on the screen, which is a big ego hit, but here we are. And then everyone loved it. So I was like, okay, I'll do another 24 hours and another 24 hours. And that was 25 months ago now.
Ooh, wow.
No, 27 months ago now. 27 months, this laptop next to me has not been turned off. It only gets turned off to update Windows or whatever. That is the only time it gets turned off. And that's only probably every couple of months or so. And then all the money raised for it goes to support children that lose their fathers in that war. It happened at a nice time for me, so to speak, as nice as a war can kicking off, help it. But I had a bit more free time on my hands. Okay. And I started doing a master's at that time as well, so the extra time really helps. But then we just came out of COVID, and there was a Legacy European Tour put on the first like event after COVID. It was the new way to get onto the Pro Tour. It was in Bologna. It was sealed. I watched that stream, and I can say this because I know them all. It was a terrible stream. It was god awful. Like, it was just like someone was there with a webcam and hoped for the best. And I don't know why I went back to it, but I just messaged like a contact email on their website, and I went, "Hey, I watched your stream. I think these could be some of the improvements that could be made to your stream to make it better for the audience." And they just replied saying, "Would you want to come be a caster?" And I was like, "That's not what I said. I just said like, you like bigger dice and things like this."
Yeah.
And they went, "Would you want to come be a caster?" And I was like, "Sure." I never say no to anything ever. Literally ask me to do anything, I never say anything. Hence why I'm on this podcast. Joke.
Of course. Yeah,
I wanted to be on. I love being a guest on this podcast.
True story.
And I turned up, and I guess from being in the military for so long, like my work ethic is very high. Like, I go above and beyond, and they saw that and they appreciate that, and they invited me back and back and back. And literally, it just ended 2 days ago, Legacy being the tournament organizer for the regional championships, and I was the most used caster over the last 2 years for them. So that's how it started. I went from never doing casting before in my life to in 11 months doing the Pro Tour. Even though I was a replacement in the Pro Tour, I can't say I got the Pro Tour. I showed interest in it. I worked a lot up to that point, and I was just happened to be in the right time, right place. Something had to have happened for me to be able to get that shot, and they gave me the call up. And even if I never do it again, like all the Pro Tours that have happened in the last 30 years, like, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I'm a huge modern fan. It was in Europe. Like, you couldn't have written a better script for me to be able to go onto one Pro Tour. That was the one, Lord of the Rings, and I'll never forget it. It was amazing. And that kind of takes us up to where I'm at now. I'm kind of I do a lot of shows now, not only just in Europe. I do the NRG series in America. I host shows with my my partner NZ MTG, obviously renowned throughout MTG Twitterverse and content creating. He's such an absolute legend when it comes to content creation. Kind of matches my energy and enthusiasm for content and growth as well. So me and him put on shows like we put on like a Super League series, which now evolved into the MTGO Masters. We do the Creator Clash, which is an arena one, because all our shows are done online. Yeah. And then at the weekends, so we do them in the week, and at the weekends, me and him go off and we do our own different events in paper, and then we come back together again. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Obviously, I'm one of the founders of the UK Content Creators Discord, which that in itself has got its own story of how that started and how I managed to put the idea out there. Okay, I'm just going to keep inviting people and get more, because originally it was like, I think it was 4 of us that got invited by someone that used to work for Axion. They were like in charge of the content creators, so to speak, and they got us all in a Discord, but then it did nothing. It was just sat there vegetating, and I was like, no one was talking in it besides me, and I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up to everybody. I'm going to just put a Twitter out there. Anybody, UK content creators, message on here. If you want to join a Discord, we had Discord. And for people that don't know, it's now booming. We've got around, I guess it's found about 100 people in there now. It's always active. Everyone's talking, interacting with each other. Far too much EDH in that Discord for me, but still, I understand it is the biggest format in Magic, and you all love it so much. And I'm just envious. That's what it is. I'm envious that you all get to play Magic and enjoy it, where I'm old and bitter, like a competitive player. Like, I'm only enjoying when I'm winning. So basically, I only enjoy a very small amount of time that I play Magic, because I don't win that much.
Yeah, I mean, how much? Obviously, you just come off the back of the LEC Naples. Mm-hmm. How much kind of preparation goes into an event like that? How many peri chickens die in that?
Yeah, I knew Nando's would come up at some point.
100%.
A lot. Well, my LGS used to be right next to a Nando's, so I literally used to go. It would go CrossFit, go Nando's, go play F&M. That was my Friday all the time. And any events happening on Saturday, Sundays, or even a Wednesday, there's always Nando's involved in it. Even when I come back and I'm anywhere near the M25, I know the exact services that has the Nando's on it. Like, I'm all about it. I'll have a Nando's any opportunity I can get. Doesn't matter how many times I've had it that week, I will always have it. But prep that goes into an RC depends on the format. So my role, and this is something people, like I never knew until it got broken down for me when someone explained to me the different roles. You just watch coverage and you think, oh my God, they're working great together. There's actual different roles when you do casting. There's play-by-play, which is like the host, like you are the one that's telling everybody what's on the line, what's going on. I always describe it that if someone closes their eyes, they'll still be able to understand what is happening in the match. That is your job as a play-by-play host. Okay, what's on the line, how many people are there, what they're playing for, what's happening in the game. And then you're paired with an expert who is like an expert in that format. So, you know, you can ask them the complicated questions. Why are they thinking this? Why did they make that play? Why are they holding this man up? What do they want to see in that opening hand? Like, it's my job to basically ask the questions, and I'm paired with someone that's able to answer those questions and answer them long, not just yes and no answers like that, but give full explanation about why, you know, to that question. Like, why are they doing that? How are they doing that? What's the reason for them doing that? And that's how you kind of go, you know, you bat yourselves back and forth, basically. I do the host role and play-by-play. That's kind of where I would say I shine in some aspects. Like, that is my realm. I didn't plan it to be that way. I thought I was just going to be a modern expert because modern is my format, and I play it and I own every card in it. You know, I'm an enthusiast for it. But I think being in the military, I stand up in front of, you know, hundreds of blokes at a time, giving speeches, giving conferences, giving PowerPoint lessons, teaching. Like, I'm very confident, stood up in front of people, talking about things that I know. So I just kind of progressed into this play-by-play host role. I think out of everybody that I've seen, especially in Europe, I would go out and say that I can work with anybody. There's no one I've worked with that I've ever clashed with, so to speak. Sometimes, you know, pairings are key when it comes to content creating and coverage. And having someone that you can have a bit of banter with really helps for me. And I've managed to get that out of everybody that I've worked with. So it's been pretty cool to this point. But like I say, modern is my main. Standard at the weekend was the regional championships finals. So I had to learn standard. I play standard a little bit on arena, but leading up to it, probably for 2.5 weeks is where I really ramp it up, and I try and get a bunch of games in with all the, you know, 10 top different decks, just so I understand how they're working, learn the names of the cards, and try and get that base information for me of why I can then ask the real questions. Because some, you know, you only I get a broad brush of the knowledge of the format and the decks, but that's enough to be able to ask the in-depth questions to my expert and be like, okay, what is this? When it comes to modern, you know, I don't really need to do too much prep for it. Like, that is my bread and butter, so to speak. And luckily for me, that for some reason is the format of choice when it comes to competitive players. You always get arguments that it's not, and it's legacy and poor and pioneer and stuff, but the numbers don't lie. On Twitch, the modern streamers tend to have the most views outside of arena, big arena streamers. Live coverage, paper always seems to excel other formats. So it's just, I've kind of been lucky in that aspect, but maybe that's what I use to my advantage to be able to get where I am now.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously, they're previewing at the moment, Modern Horizons 3, so that might throw some grenades into the format. I don't know how much down. Yeah. Any thoughts, some of the previews we've had so far?
It looks extremely powerful. Like, I mean, extremely powerful. So it's doing what I want it to do. Like, Modern Horizons 1 was a little bit underpowered, so to speak, but not, if that makes sense. You had decks, and they just got a few more cards, and they made a couple new decks. Modern Horizons 2 just flipped the format on its head, and some decks that were around completely are not decks anymore, and it built a whole load of new decks. Modern Horizons 3, I think, is going to do the same. I think it's going to flip the format on its head again, which is what I want from a Horizon set. I want it to completely warp a format. So do Wizards, because then we buy their products and we keep pumping it and doing this. Yeah. I'm not huge on the Commander deck element of it.
Oh yeah, this is interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. It's meant to be a modern format, but yet there's Commander cards and Commander decks that aren't legal in modern. Like, I'm sure you could have made Commander decks out of cards that are legal in modern, but they've chose not to. And it's weird. I know everyone's up on hand about it, and I understand why they do it. It makes money. I understand that's the end day for Wizards. Does it make us more money? Yes. Then we're going to do it. It sucks that it's in a modern set, and it is what it is. I think they even messed up on the live stream, right? They called it Commander Horizons.
Blake. Yeah.
Blake knew he was in trouble with that one, and that's going to haunt him for a little while. But
I've seen that clip floating around. Yeah, I watched it live as well. It's like, oh, and he said afterwards, "Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for this one." But yeah, it's interesting seeing some of the previews because a lot of the cards that are being printed into Modern are Commander cards. So
there's a whole bunch of them, yeah.
Yeah. So you got these Commander cards that obviously weren't legal in Modern, which now are. Whether any of those will see players, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Like,
yeah.
Phyrexian Tower is definitely seeing play.
Yeah. That's a standout one.
That's great.
You know, I'm a Yawgmoth player. I'm like, oh, hello, let's go. Even in like Hardened Scales as a deck, you can just go turn 1 Memnite, make 2 mana, have a turn 1, you know, Walking Ballista or something that potentially uses 2 mana, and it's going to be utilized a lot. I don't know in what decks. I don't know, and I'm not the best deck brewer. At least not these days. Like maybe when I was streaming, I could play around a little bit more. These days, I just leave it to the other streamers. They've got their day job is to brew and make decks and change the format to Sparring Spike. It works wonders. Leave it to them, and then I'll learn the format and pick it up from there and buy whatever I need to buy. I did brew when I got to the Pro Tour though. That's how I qualified for the Pro Tours with Modern, and this is back when a format was. It was like Dredge and Infect, but it was blue-green Infect. And I brewed a black Infect list. I was the only one that turned up with that list. And I went undefeated all day and got on the Pro Tour, which was pretty cool for me to see. I look at the decks now. Yeah, it was really sick. Like, because the best removal spells at that point was Path to Exile and Lightning Bolt. And I was like, well, Phyrexian Crusaders, protection from white and protection from red. I was like, this seems great.
Yeah.
So I, you know what I mean? I just absolutely hose people with it all day long. And that's like my one thing, like that and getting the first 5-0 with Yawgmoth on Magic Online because I stole Aspiring Spike's deck and was able to 5-0 before him. It's really, that interaction was quite funny. So he was streaming it. This is back before he was Aspiring Spike, if this makes sense. Like he was like 30, 40 viewers at this point. Like he wasn't the phenomenon that he is now. One of the best, if not the best deck brewer of our generation. He so I messaged him like, can I have your deck? He went, yeah, sure, give it me. And then I was like, I'm 4 over your deck, I might 5 over it. So he came in my stream and watched me as well, and I 5 of it. And then that went into the 5-0 dump, and then Saffron Olive, Mr. Goldfish himself, saw that, took the deck, made a video out of it, played it on stream, and it kind of like just blew up. And it was like, yeah, Will Hall this. And I had to go into every video and be like, no, it's Aspiring Spike. No, it's Aspiring Spike. No, it's Aspiring Spike. So I'm a big fan of, you know, where credit is due, it should be due. I don't want to steal anyone else's, laurels if they, or achievements. If they've worked hard for it, then everyone should get the credit for it, in my opinion. You know, I'm not about stealing content and work, even though I do kind of steal content 24 hours a day for the past 2.5 years, but you know, it's for a good cause.
Yeah, exactly. It's for a good cause. It's fine. Exactly.
Yeah. You get a lot of deck creators that have written a good primer, right? And you can take that and use that to play it yourself or give it a go.
That's interesting, the whole primer deck list thing, right? Like the Cyborg guide is what you're talking about, right? Like streamers make Cyborg guides. It's really interesting, that whole like the era we're in of Cyborg decks, deck techs and all that sort of stuff. Is it lazy content? Is it great content? Is it overpriced? Is it underpriced? I'm in the realm of it's easy content, and it's an easy way to support your favorite streamer. If I'm going to pick up a deck and someone's put, I don't know, 100 hours into that deck, and I've got a full-time job and I can't do that, I think it's fine to pay someone $5, get their exact 75 and how they sideboard in the top 10 matchups in that format. So I don't have to do the hard work. I just have to rely on my skill. Do I think you should still get a lot of reps in the deck before you go to a big tournament? Yes, but if that's out of your possibility, because there's just not enough time in the day, you've got a family, etc. I'm fully about it. But then is $5 enough for all that information?
Yeah.
I was talking about this at the weekend with some other content creators, and we were like, is it lazy content? Is it underpriced? Is it overpriced? Is it great content? Is it just necessary these days to do this? Is this something that MTGO streamers get to benefit from more than arena streamers? Because there's more, at least I feel from in like a competitive world, there's more weight put on MTGO streamers as more competitive players than it is arena streamers, which is more like a casual, so to speak. Like if I was testing for a standard Pro Tour, I would not test on Arena. I would be testing on Magic Online because I feel like the competition is better on there.
Is that because? Is that because let's be honest, like you don't have Modern on Arena, you don't have Pioneer on Arena. Yes, they have Standard, but let's be honest, a lot of competitive players, to my mindset anyway, they, like you said, they're playing Modern, they're probably playing Pioneer, Legacy, and they're not accessible on Arena. So they're already on Magic the Gathering online. So it makes sense to... Also, you know, we're not really spoke about this, but even the economy of Arena is a bit...
oh my God, it's terrible.
It feels... there's a real bad taste there. I mean, the only really one I've ever sort of invested in was a Team Adventures deck back when... when Eldraine was knocking around. I played it for a bit and it was great, but then the meta moved and you're like, great, you know, I've invested into something that is now
gone.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I don't play enough to, you know, get my dailies and that sort of stuff. So I can totally understand it, because with, you know, with online, it's, you know, yes, I know you have to sort of pay basically for the loan of the cards, but you've got them, and then that's it. And you can even like give them back and trade and all that sort of stuff, can't you?
Yeah, it's got its own economy, the card values, etc. Plus chests also have a value, so you can profit doing it. You can make profit by playing Magic online. What makes it more competitive, I think, than Arena is if I want to play in a league on Magic Online, I've got to pay $10.
Yep.
And I've got to go 3-2 or better to get my money back. If I don't, then I'm losing money. And on Arena, I can just keep a rubbish hand. I don't want to right click concede, start again. It means nothing to me moving 2 pips or you know, my mythic number changing slightly. Like the higher you go up, obviously it does affect a little bit more, but
of course.
you can just right click, start again, right click, start again, right click, start again. On Arena, you do that, it's going to cost you $10 every time. And you know, competitive players aren't about that. They, you know, Magic players in general want bloods out of stones. I want to sign up for $2, but I want $1,000 cash prize. And I think that's why you see more, at least more of a stigma that it's more competitive on Magic Online than it is Arena. There are great Arena players, mind you. Don't get me wrong. There are really, and some of the best players in the world play on there, but then they also really excel on there as well because of the other level of competition. In my opinion, probably get hated for that, but yeah, that's what I think.
I think it's a fair comment. I think it's a fair comment, personally.
It's obviously designed to give people a route into Magic, isn't it? So that it's quite user friendly as well.
Oh, it's a very user friendly. Like if anyone ever asks me how do I play it, I'm like, download Arena on your app, on your, you know, from the app store. It's going to teach you how to play.
It's too user friendly, in my opinion. It holds your hands too much, particularly with like stops and in response periods. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it does what it needs to do. I have it. I still use it. I still log on once every 3 days, do my dailies, get my gold, bank my gold until a new set comes out, and then I'll just keep drafting. And that's how I get my wild cards and get my cards from my collection. Keep drafting until I lose and I've got no more gold left. Then I do it with my gems until I've got no more gems left. Rinse and repeat until the next set comes out. And that's doing that because it's obviously on your mobile. That's the key. It's on your mobile. You can do it in bed. You can do it on a train. Do it on the wherever you need to. You just play Arena on your phone. Sometimes the client. I've been playing since beta on Arena. Actually, it was a bit dodgy back then, but you know it's got better. The team are doing good. I love all the little like different formats they make up throughout the week. You know, oh, this week's gonna be Brawl Week, or this week's gonna be that, and you can get these fancy arts. And you know, I'm not a huge fan of Arena only formats, except for Timeless. Timeless, I think, is like the one accepted format by both competitive players and casual players, because you get to play with all these powerful cards that are banned in other formats. They kind of merged them together, made their own format. It's really powerful. It's a lot of fun, I think, personally. The only downside to it is the economy on Arena. I've got to invest 200, 300 quid just to get enough wild cards to build these decks, because I can't really get those cards by opening packs or playing in other formats. I can't draft it, etc. And luckily for me, I had a huge, wild card collection, so I was able to get a lot of the decks in Timeless, and that is my format of choice, even though it's pretty warped right now. Sneak and Show is Show and Tell. Show and Tell is pretty broken in that format at the minute. Hopefully, Modern Horizons 3 though is being printed onto Arena, so that'll be legal in Timeless. So hopefully, it will change that format a little bit.
I'm glad they made the effort to put that into Arena.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it good or is it wasted for it though?
Oh, I mean,
you don't have Modern on Arena.
They could have completed Pioneer. Instead.
That's what I mean. They should just complete Pioneer. Why are you putting Modern sets when you don't have the format Modern?
But
the only thing it's going to use then is Brawl, and timeless, right? Is there another format other than that they can be played in? You could draft it, of course.
Will, you know the answer to this question. You know the answer to the question. If they put it on Arena, it gives exposure, and people are more likely to buy paper versions of it, or people will be like, "Well, that's a pretty good broken card in Brawl or whatever." Look, we know the answers to it, but it is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day,
I think. Yeah, because obviously there is a lot of Commander cards being printed into it as well. It does spice up Brawl a little as well, which obviously people do play on there. But it needs to have a historic Brawl, doesn't it? Client.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't play it.
Historic Brawl is basically like Commander on Arena, whereas Brawl is standard legal sets only. But yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things. I love the interactions and I love the use of Arena, but you're just so heavily restricted. I mean, so right now, I'm currently doing some practicing for some Pioneer events. I'd love to be jamming Pioneer on Arena, but I can't because it's not on there, and the cards that I want to play aren't on there. So, do you know what I mean? You're in that sort of position where I could then start going towards Magic the Gathering Online. I've never really used the platform. Time as well.
It takes a while to learn that.
Yeah,
the platform. You'll make a lot of misclicks early on, and you'll skip phases when you didn't mean to.
Yep.
And it's actually one of the things on my list to do is because I've been saying it for years. Make YouTube videos. I got to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and then I deleted all the videos basically, which is another. I spoke about it so many times in the past. So I basically had a conversation with Nikachu MTG. One of my good friends that makes a lot of content, the Merfolk Master, but he kind of took my obsession with Mr. Beast, because I love Mr. Beast, and I thought it was amazing what videos he made. And this is back when he was like 1-2 million subscribers, not just the phenomenon he is now. Yeah. But he like sat down, and we broke down why is he so successful? Why do his videos get gazillion views where your Arena deck only gets a couple of thousand or whatever, and it's bingeable content is the answer. You could watch a Mr. Beast video from 5 years ago today, and it'll still be entertaining.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even entertain watching your Arena video from 5 years ago because the meta's changed, and I don't care about those decks anymore. It's got a very small shelf life. But the longer that's in your video arsenal, it will give rubbish stats. What's the word I'm for? Like
analytics
on your analytics. It'll give you worse analytics, which means your more recent videos won't get pushed to the top as much because you got to try and chase that algorithm of YouTube, which is like chasing Narnia. If you hit it, you hit it, and you're like, oh sweet, so you can write it. But then there's loads of stats behind it. I mean, we sat down, we broke it down, and he is a phenomenon. And I always say to people that are looking to get better at YouTube, and I can hook you up with Nikachu, and he'll sit down with you and he'll explain everything to you that you don't know that you think Like he'll tell you how to break it down, how to make your content better, etc., etc. And he's proof of the pudding. He was just Merfolk videos, and then he went to kind of like reaction videos, like top 5 misplays of all time, top 5 cheats of all time, this sort of stuff. And he's got videos with millions of views now. And that's in MTG, which you don't really hear of unless that you're a huge content creator. And then he made a second channel for his his MTG coffee mornings and his play videos and stuff. I love stats and data. I love that sort of content, trying to almost solve a puzzle, right? Like you want to crack YouTube, how do you do it? Okay, this is YouTube's
a funny thing. So it's something that I am now. I've just started in the process. I want to start pushing my YouTube and I'm releasing more content, or I'm about to start releasing more content, including shorts and blah blah blah. But it's really funny. So I released a small video. It was a misplay video. It was basically like, it's just a bit of a funny, what happens. You might not know this, Will, but like in Commander, lots of mistakes happen, particularly when I'm playing. And it can be quite funny because. And that's exactly what it was. It was effectively, I can't remember the dragon, but there was a dragon that says when it takes damage, it basically deals that much damage to each player. He had the dragon, the team of dragon that creates another dragon when you play one. It's just gone from my head. Anyway, so he had 2 of these dragons, and I blasphemous act. So it's like, that's like 26 damage, and we're all like, we're all dead. And I think there was another amplifier on it. Anyway, it was fine, and it done really, really well. I released So I made four color money pile modern video, and the views on it was atrocious compared to the misplay. And I was like, oh well, I'm actually interested in producing sort of like pauper, modern, pioneer videos. But I'll be honest with you, it felt like a kick in the nuts, because I was like, well, hold on a minute, I've just basically made a bit of a funny, I've made a mistake here video that got literally 10 times, if not more, the amount of views, and it really stunted. And I was a bit like, oh well, I'm still playing it and I'm still prepared to do it, but I'm a bit like, oh well,
you got to think, right? The reason is, why would I watch your video on Pioneer to do with, let's say, mono red, your mono red video on Pioneer, when I can watch LSV's video on mono red?
Yeah, 100%.
Someone that's proved, tested, got that name.
Exactly.
You've got to really bring something different to the table.
100%.
Where if it's reaction content, I could watch that misplay today, or I could watch it in 5 years' time. It will still be a misplay that's like, that's quite funny, because it has the element that everybody died to it, and Blasphemous Act is a card in EDH that everybody knows about.
Yep.
So and it's almost, you got to try and take your ego out of the equation, which I'm pretty sure I still haven't been able to do. Like, I still want to be like, no, I want to play modding videos and this, that, and the other, but your ego is like, no, I'm good enough to do this, blah blah blah. But when realistically, if you're like, if you just look at the stats, just make reaction videos, make top 5 videos, make this, that, sort of bingeable stuff, and people were going to keep watching that now for the next 5 years. I've always wanted to, like Commander Fest, get a booster box and put it on a table and get 8 people to put their hands on it and go, okay, last person to take your hand off gets the booster box, and just record it. And just see what, he does it with planes and houses and cars and boats, doing it very small scale on like a booster box. But, I will probably do that video one day. I'm not gonna lie to you, I probably will do that video, but
that would be cool.
It's just like how long would it go on for? Is the other one like, I'm not a big time YouTuber. I don't have like a gazillion cameras of battery powered banks and memory storages and blah blah. So it's like, okay, now I've got to go through the skip of how do I also speed that process up? Do I leave them for the first hour and just have a mic there and a camera, and then I come back in an hour and be like, okay, everyone stand on one leg. Okay, now everyone only use one finger. Okay, now everybody eat this sugary donut.
Or like sour or something like that. Yeah.
Cinnamon challenge while they're doing it or something.
How
to go about it, but that's the sort of stuff that you could watch now, watch 5 years ago, watch in 5 years' time, and people will be like, and you're probably able to make a gazillion shorts on it now. That's the new thing, right? Like shorts, TikTok is, and I've said this, I'm actually in the process with renewing our partner. Like, I don't think that TikTok is utilized enough in MTG. I think there's realistically probably one content creator that actually does it well, that I've seen, that like proper has got the right clips, the right editing, the right time, and is doing extremely well on that. I'm sure there's lots more, but the one that I've seen, I think they're called Play MTG. It's an EDH channel, and I just look at them, I'm like, whoa, they've nailed this. They've literally nailed it on the head. They've seen this market, took time out their day to do it, and I'm like they make me want to play EDH, and I don't even play EDH. I'm like, man, they're good. That's good.
Yeah. You did play a game, didn't you, recently?
I did play a game recently. That was a delight. I won, so I'm happy because I'm a creative player. But I had to borrow the deck. I didn't know what half the cards did. I didn't know what the commander was doing, so I was literally reading everything as I go. And then I knew the basics of EDH, which is basically, it's a political game. You just have to make sure the other 3 don't kill you before you can kill them. Like, it's not like with so much skill. It's just, well, I'll do this if you do that, and okay, I don't kill. I'll leave you up, and I'll let you draw cards. I know you can attack me to get your triggers. I understand that the political game, and it got to the point where I was just then able to kill everybody in one turn. I thought I was able to do something really, really cool. I had I can't remember what my command was called, like Zergo or something. It's the red goblin that whenever you target it, it gives all your other creatures the same effect that you're targeting it with.
Did you do that with Krenko?
It's Zerda.
No, Zerda. Yeah. I had Krenko in the deck. And that's how I generated a big board state. But I thought I was going to do a really cool play where I like active treason my own card.
Okay.
Thinking that then I would get like a load of copies of the card and I could steal everybody's board, but it doesn't work that way, unfortunately, for me. I just had to kill them the old-fashioned way, which wasn't as cool, by just generating, like 20 powered creatures going at everybody, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Those lads are awesome. Commander Fest in general, Axion, I've said it and I'll always say it, 100% down to do anything for Axiom at any time they ask me, and I'll always put 100% effort in, because without them, we don't have Commander Fest, we don't have competitive play in the UK, we don't have Pro Tour invites. Plus, Francois and Liz are like the best, the nicest like TOs in the country, and I'm all about UK magic. I don't know if you ever catch any of the European stuff, but like if there's a UK player doing well, I'm always shouting them out. I'm always going to try and get them on a feature match if I can. I won't like pit them on if they're losing. I'm not that sort of, but they have to keep winning. They have to actually be eligible for a feature match, and then I'll be like, okay, there's Ben Jones, there's Sean Goodard, etc. I'll try and get the UK peeps on the camera best I can, because I obviously want to promote UK. I am very patriotic. Like that's one thing. I know some people don't like the country, blah, blah, blah. I am extremely patriotic. I think it comes with a job, right? Like I literally work for the king. So yeah, that's
I think
where we started that conversation.
Well,
EDH is to be patriotic.
Well,
the Monarch.
I mean, we've had this conversation.
I have a customized Monarch token done as the Queen, so I had to say that. Shout out to Jeff.
I love your tokens, by the way. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Big
cheers, thanks. I'm currently in the middle of getting a construct made, and we were speaking today about how we want to do it. Literally before we started this podcast, I was speaking with my artist, and I was like, I think there's a really cool scene in the comic books of the Avenger comic books of Age of Ultron, where he's like just stood there and he's got all these Avengers and the army and stuff all around him shooting at him.
I think I've seen that.
And it's a really cool scene. I'm like, right, okay, how can we turn this into Will? Because all my tokens are Will versus something. So I'm like, how can we turn this into me versus him? So now I think like I'm going to be stood there, and then we're going to try and do like a split card, like you'd see in a comic book where they've got the two screens, two pictures, and it's going to be me stood there with all the constructs stood around me trying to attack me. I don't know how it's going to turn out. They're currently literally going to draw it probably by the end of this week, and we'll green light it or not. And but yeah, I appreciate it. I think he does a lot of great artwork. He was actually at the last Commander Fest selling a load of his tokens. I think his best selling token was Stonk as like a treasure token. It's really cool, talented artist, and I got a lot of time for him. And that's one, like, I feel like I'm bigging myself up. I try to help everybody I possibly can. Like, I'm a very good person to know in one way or another. You can think I'm a dick or not, but I know a lot of people. I know a lot of artists, I know a lot of TOs, I know a lot of content creators. Like, I'm a very good middleman. Like, I can put people in contact with the right people. And even if I don't, I'll have you in my mind. I'll be like, okay, and if it ever comes up, I try and get people to the right area. So that, like, my artist, I managed to get them to Commander Fest. I was like, Axiom, but I give this guy a shot. I promise you, people are going to want this stuff. They're going to do his tokens. Great, lads. Speak to him. I know you've got you're looking for people to fill up this general area. This could be a really good person for it. Ellie, who's Josh's the other Marine that plays Magic the Gathering. His missus Ellie, she does a lot of tokens as well. She made the playmat for with the two goblins that were on it.
A
couple years ago. She did that art and does the tokens. And again, I was able to put her in contact with the Axiom lot and kind of move that forward. Even at the Legacy European Tour, I was able to get a couple of the artists there. Like Chivron, she's an amazing artist. If you haven't seen her work, I managed to get her in there with them. I managed to get people in getting casting gigs with different companies here and there. I'm like, okay, well, you need this. I think this person can do it, or this person, and this person deserves a chance. I'm all about give someone a chance. So give them the rope. If they hang themselves, cool.
That's on them.
Step back from it a little bit, but I'm all about trying to help people out and not for self gain, if that makes sense. Which I've learned. And this is going to sound, don't take offense to this, but in Civvy Street, it's a lot about self gain, especially like on these bigger shows. Everybody's kind of, it's like Game of Thrones. Everybody's kind of manipulated in some way, and I see it and I'm like, what is going on here? Like 'cause in the military, you've got one goal, right? Say there's a job, a task that needs to happen. Everybody works to that task. There is no self gain from it. It's just once that's done, you can go home, so to speak, or the next task comes. Where in Civvy Street, it's a lot of like, okay, well, I'm going to tell them that I'm doing it. I'm going to tell them I'm not, so then they can help me get here, and this can do that. And I'm just like, what is going on? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't compute. Maybe that's why I was able to be like the most used content caster for Legacy European Tour, because I'm like, the goal is to put the best coverage on possible. It's not my ego. It's not screen time. It's not getting the most retweets. It's not getting the free product. It's getting the best product to the viewers watching to make this company successful, and then you grow with the company, so to speak. I've never been a it's about me guy. At least I don't think I have. Someone will probably say I have been. You know what I mean? But I try not to be. I try to help everybody that I can get to their potential. Everyone just needs a shot, right? And even with the shows I put on with Anu, so the MTGO Masters and Content Creator Clash for the Arena one, I'm very like I'm the person that finds the players for that. So we kind of like if we pick me and Anu in the middle, he does the bit where he talks to the companies and the sponsors, etc. And then I do the bit where it's like sponsors and players. So I'm like the player liaison. I find the players, I put them all together, and we put them in tier lists, etc. Like who we want, and then we work our way down from that. I'm very big on. I understand we've got sponsors. I understand we want the event to be successful. So you got to have some big names in there, okay? Like some people that are locked. But then I always say half of them have to be big names. So if we've got 16 slots, 8 of them have got to be the biggest people I can get on the show, and then like the next 4 to 6 are like, you know, like mid-level people that are putting a lot of work in. Their content's good. They're maybe like averaging 20 to 40 viewers. So, you know, they're turning up, they're getting there, they're starting to go over the line. I think they need a shot. They just need people to get more eyes on them, because people sometimes don't get that shot, right? So like I'm like, oh, okay, let's get them on there. And then the last couple of slots are people just starting off that have got a bit of buzz behind them. That I watch a lot of Twitch. I don't watch TV. I literally just watch Twitch, and I'll go all the way down to viewers that have got like no viewers or one viewer, and just sit in their stream for a little bit, see how they talk, interact, do their layout. If it's you just turned on a computer and it's just you talking, you're probably not going to get my interest yet. But if you've got like a camera and a nice overlay that you've worked on, and you know you're engaging with the audience, etc., you're not just shouting at Arena that it's fault that it's broken and it's bugged. Yeah. And there's a top deck thing. You know, you actually been good to watch. I will take note of that, and I'll basically, if I follow your Twitch channel, I think that I will try and get you for a show at some point, no matter what size you're on. Or I just haven't had eyes on your thing yet to do it. But that's how I try and do it. I try and get enough to sell the event and make it watchable with the big names that can advertise it. And then we work down, and I try and give everybody that shot, because that's what they need, is one shot. I needed that shot once. And my friend, he doesn't stream anymore, even though he said today's actually coming back to it. He used to be known as Squad Chief. He was like one of the bigger grinder MTGO streamers out there. And he raided me once and got like 80 more eyes on me, and from that point is where my streaming career kind of grew. From that point there, that's why I put all the success down, is that's the point that I got a lot of eyes on me, and I was able to grow with that. I kind of be part of that like little MTGO club at the time, and it's obviously spiraled out of control since then. Now I'm here on this podcast, which is the peak of my career, clearly.
Downhill from here.
Only downhill from here, I tell you. Oh. But no, it's cool. I think everyone just needs a shot, and if I can in any way help people do that, I do. Even it's just like people do charity streams and stuff, because even before I did the charity streams that I do now, the 24-hour one, I used to do charity streams. There's a video on YouTube, which might be one of the only YouTube videos I haven't deleted, of me. I was on Twitter, and I was just scrolling, as you do, because I've got nothing else better to do with my time. And I saw a tweet from someone I don't know. It was someone like I followed, if that makes sense. You know, sometimes you can see tweets that people comment on. And it was this young lad. He was 12 years old. He's autistic, and he was getting bullied online. And all he wanted to do was make content. You know, his videos were getting abused. You know, the bullies were going on there and giving him crap. And they're going in the stream and giving us crap, and his mum and dad had to really hardly mod for him and stuff, and they told YouTube, and YouTube did nothing about it. And I was just like, I fucking hate bullies with a passion. Like, I wasn't a 6'2" Royal Marine my whole life. I was that long scrawny little kid that got bullied at school. So I was like, right, I want to do something for this kid. What can I do? I was like, right, I'll just do a charity stream for him. Maybe I can raise enough to buy him a PlayStation or something, a couple £100. It went really, really well. And in a day, I was able to get like $1,500. So I just bought him a complete stream setup. I bought the desk, the chairs, Nintendo Switch, the monitors, the mics, the headsets, everything he needs to be able to, to make content with, basically. And I got his sister, who again has never met me, just messaged her randomly on Twitter, slided into this lady's DMs and be like, hey, this is going to sound weird. Can you come to my Twitch stream right now? I'm live. And she jumps in, she sees what's happening, going off, and I explain on the stream. And she's like, I'm crying, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, don't cry. I need your help. I need you to give me an address that I can send this to. And then it escalated to, waiting till he went out with his friends or to school or something like that, and they snuck in and set his whole room up for him with all these gifts.
That's awesome.
And then when he came home, I recorded a little video for him, and then they played that video to him. He had no idea who I was. He never played Magic the Gathering, and he's big into his FIFA. And then he went upstairs, and they kind of all recorded the video of him watching it, and then going upstairs to him watching it and opening it and stuff. And his parents are there. And I still keep in contact with him now. I still watch his streams when he streams, and still comment on his. He's getting into TikTok recently, so comment on that. And he obviously, I think he's going through his exams at the minute in the UK. But you know, that's a video. It's probably like 3 or 4 years old now. That it shows I've not always been a dick my whole life. You know what I mean? Like I did something nice at that point.
I think that's an incredible thing to do.
Keep doing that.
I think, like you said earlier, actually that's going above and beyond and actually making a real difference in someone's life. You know.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you kind of get like the whole big brother thing on it. Like, you know, what I mean, he's got someone to help him if he ever needs help. If he ever needs, you know, how do I do this, or what do I use to edit this with? Blah blah blah. You know, I'm there to help. It got a lot more eyes on him. I wanted to get him 100 followers on his YouTube. But by the time he woke up, that was my like in the stream. I was like, go to this YouTube channel, give him a follow. He's in bed right now, so when he wakes up tomorrow, he's gonna see he's got like over 100 viewers, subscribers on his YouTube channel. I think he started like 8 or something. But then obviously, like, you know, the next day you're a little kid, you wake up, you got 100 YouTube. It's like, you know,
that's amazing.
Let's go. And I just wanted to give like that awesome feeling to him. It's just, I've always been trying to do good things for the community, especially in the UK. It's what I try to do. I try to do anyway. If I do it or not, depends on which social media you ask. Some social medias are not friendly, shall we say. But it is what it is.
To be fair, Will, I mean, that's an incredible story. And I think it's just a testament to, you know, the nice guy you are. I mean, you know, look, I know we've sort of been communicating for a while, and we've met a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I've always thought he's a straight up top chap, really. But I mean, you know, I know well enough that you didn't do that for your own benefit. You just, exactly how you just explained it. You're like, do you know what? This guy needs a little helping hand or just a little nice thing. And it's so nice to be able to provide that. I mean, I think that's an incredible thing to do, really.
That's the only one I made a video for. I've seen people get their decks stolen online, and like, so I literally just bought them the deck completely and gave it them. I was like, there you go, there's your deck back. There was a guy in. I almost made this video. I did get a lot of content done for it, but then I didn't make it in the end because it starts really dark. There's a guy in the Philippines. He's got an LGS, and he used to teach kids how to play Magic, which in the Philippines and in that sort of area is in, basically kids were getting taken for like drugs and sex trafficking and stuff. And he kind of had like a safe place for them to go. He'd get them out the hands of them and teach them card games to, you know, move forward. But then the floods happened and flooded his whole shopping, lost everything. So I ran a campaign on Twitter, and I got we raised a couple £100 for him, but the money wasn't the thing he needed. He needed content. So I say I know a lot of people. I know a lot of the big game stores in the UK, and I said to him, like, I need you to send me a load of bulk. Like, send me loads and loads of bulk. I'm putting together as many Pauper decks as I can to send them, because Pauper was the format that he used to teach them with, because it's obviously one of the cheaper formats to get into. Sure. And I think my goal was to make 500 Pauper decks to send this guy. I think we got to like 411 or something like that. Because I had a guy in America. There was a contact in America, so instead of everybody in America sending it to me in the UK to then send, it was like I had one person that they'd send it all to in America, one person, I was the person in the UK, and then we both send it to him, and he ended up, like with 400 plus decks, well more than he ever needed. But it was there. Like, you've got a stockpile of cards now. You can teach kids, or they all came in deck boxes, etc. I've probably still got the footage somewhere of all that, but again, I could try and milk this for all it's worth and try and get a load of likes on social media. It's just, that's great.
That's not why you've done it, though, is it? Let's be honest.
No, there's not in the slightest. Exactly, is that why I do it? And that's why I'm very bad at social media. I think I literally say to myself all the time, like, you're so bad at social media, Will. The things that I've done, people milk the heck out of these things and get all these like clicks and likes and sponsorships and stuff like that. And to me, it's a passion thing. It's a hobby thing. Like, I have a day job. I don't need the money. Hence why the money for the stream goes to you charities. And I don't need all these things. Even when I had like sponsorships, I would give half of it away. Each year I do the food bank chaos draft stuff.
Yeah.
Which was you involved in this year's one? I can't remember who was involved in this.
I know you mentioned it, and I couldn't do it unfortunately. But yeah, no, it was sounded really good fun.
Well, I'm planning to do it again this year. I'm trying to get a load of stores signed up for it this year. Basically, it's a free chaos draft of all the boosters that I win throughout the year. They sit in a box, and then I make sets of 24 boosters, and I send them to different LGSs, and everyone has a free chaos draft on me. The only stipulation is they have to buy their way into it. The way they buy their way into it is they have to bring food for the food bank, because it's always done at Christmas, like 2 weeks before Christmas, and the buy-in is food bank. So if you're going to spend 15 quid on a draft, buy 15 quid's worth of food from Lidl, bring it in. I have like one representative at each LGS that collects it all up, and they'll take it to the food bank for me. And this year we had 4 venues, I think it was, so like 4 lots of huge mounds of food for the food bank for Christmas. Again, could try and I think I did make a post or so of it, but I should have made a poster and videos and clips, but yeah, it's almost like I'm lazy, really. It's like I'll do the good thing, but I won't try and get milk it for clicks and views. I'm never been that guy yet.
You're just a fucking straight up nice guy, Will. I won't hear it from anyone else.
I can be a dick. I promise you, I can be a dick. If you're bullying people, I am going to tell you. If you're I will tell you.
That's not being a dick, though, is it? Let's be honest. That's not being a dick.
If I don't think you're doing a good job in something that could be benefiting her, but I will also tell you that it's there's some people we have in common that I think don't do a great job, and I will say that to them, and obviously it ruffles some feathers. No one wants to be told that they're not doing their job right, or they could be doing more. But it's not just it's shit. I won't ever tell them it's shit or that's bad. I'll be like, this is why, and I think this is how it can be improved. I'm severely dyslexic. I am like probably one of the most dyslexic people you ever meet. Reading is not my thing. It's not my forte, which is my biggest weakness when it comes to casting in Europe, because we don't have players called John and Dave. It's Rodrigue, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't read. And I have to sit there and write it out phonetically and get it all done. And but I always try and give constructive criticism when I can. But look, this is why it's bad. I think this is what you could do to improve it, and this is the reasons why. And it's only great if it's towards me, I'll just cool. But I try not to surround myself with rubbish people. If you do something bad to me or cross me in any way, you're gone. I probably should give more second chances than I do, but I'm good at it, and I think that's just the dyslexic thing. I see a problem, and I see the solution. I can step out of that box. Where some people struggle, because I think again there's an Afghan thing, right? Like someone shoots at you, I know exactly what to do, instinct reaction. Then my job in the military is now to look after these lads. I need to be able to take that step back, work out what's the best way to go about winning this situation, if it's pulling out or fighting through, etc. Make the adult decisions and get on with it. And I do that with content creating as well. Okay, this is the problem. We need these players in this area to make this content at this time, and blah blah. And I get to see it from both sides. I'm right. Well, if we want content creators, we need to give them something, because content creators, we are leeches. We want everything for free, and we want it now. But then I'm also on the side of the creator. I'm like, well, if we're giving them stuff for free, I want them to make me 2 videos and be here at this time and sign up to this. And they don't do that, they don't get their products. So I think it's a back and forth thing, and I can see it from both sides as the creator, and I can see it from the person wanting something from the creators. I'm waffling, but yeah, I can take a step back. Being dyslexic, I use it to my advantage.
I think that's
you're saying bring back vanilla creatures. Is that what you're saying?
You tell me there's a power creep in Magic? I will not believe it. There's a power creep in Magic. I tell you.
I think that's the thing. It's nice to be able to have that ability to look at those things, but I mean, so I sometimes feel like, particularly on the pod and when I speak to other creators and whatnot, I sometimes feel like I maybe come across like I lean towards more, say, like Wizards or the business or something like that. But it's not. Look, I run my own business. I know what it's like being on that side of the fence. But I also straddle this weird position that, I know that side of things. I sit on the player side of things, and I sit on the content creation side of things. So I see all 3 of it. And at the end of the day, I think it's a bit like going into any negotiation. If everyone walks around feeling a bit like, well, we could have done this, could have done that, that's actually the best place to be. And I think it just needs to be fair. And half the time, what you've just sort of said there, or quoting consistently, sometimes just give somebody a chance. You know, I've had it before. I'm sure you've had it as well. Someone pings you a message. They're asking for a bit of advice. I had someone message me on Instagram once. It was asking about they struggled with, like, there's terrible social anxiety about going to their local LGS. I must have mentioned something in a post. I didn't know this guy from Adam, but I just was like, well, look, my man, look, you just be a human in that scenario, don't you? Look, we've all got those worries and those anxieties, and you just have to be a human in those positions. So say, look, I don't know the answers, my dude, but, you know, just try and be a human being to this person. Look, you know, given them a few, you know, just told them, you know, my examples and what happened to me, and hopefully that comforted them a little bit. And I did sort of say, I said, look, I really hope that my words helped you in any particular way, because it's not easy. You know, I was very lucky. I walked into my LGS. I didn't know anyone. I just started chatting to them and started making friends. I'm very lucky in that respect, and I know. But I know not everybody's got that in them. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I'm very blunt. Like, you know, if someone came to me like, I've got anxiety, I don't know about going to my LGS, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, why do you think you're so special that everyone's going to look at you when you walk in there? Like, what about you is so special? You're just another person walking into the LGS, just like they were at that time. What's going to stop you walking up to these people and talking to them? They're exactly the same as anyone else you've ever spoke to, except for you don't know them. You've made friends before. This is just the same, except you're in an environment with people that are got interests in you. You know what I mean? Walk in there and be like, hey, I've just started. Can you tell me how to play? Hey, I've just joined. What's the format this Friday? Like, what you all into? I'm looking for an LGS. It's taking the, like, that first step that I think people, maybe I'm really old, I don't know. I've got like it's not, to me, it's not hard. I understand people with anxiety, it's really hard to do that, but then I'm like get past that barrier. If you're going to hold yourself back your whole life in it, you're going to waste your life. Why? What's the worst that can happen? What is literally the worst that can happen from walking in an LGS?
They throw you out. It's the worst thing.
No, go away.
Yeah, exactly.
You get banned. Like, okay, go to another LGS. Like this, if that's the only LGS in your town, guess what? There's online event. There's Discords that you can join up to. You know what I mean? You can play on Spell Table. There's always going to be big events. And Magic the Gathering in general is a great community.
Yeah, 100%.
There are some bad eggs.
Yeah,
okay? Like, it's life. People are going to say that I'm a bad egg. I'm going to say that other people are bad eggs. It is what it is. You have to form your own opinion. Just don't follow the mob. Yeah. You know, in that opinion, like, do your own research is what I say. You know what I mean? Speak to them. Speak to the people. Talk. It's not hard to me, so I don't really get to have that emphasis with it, because I've always, when I joined the military, I was that kid. I couldn't talk to people. You know what I mean? It was like my worst nightmare, stood in front of people having to say words or, you know, anything like that. Then I joined the military in week 1. I'm naked in the shower with 30 other guys. I'm like, well, there's that out the window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, it was snapped out of me the hard way. So now I've been in the military for so long now, it's ingrained in me. I don't have emphasis with it. And I understand I don't have the emphasis for other people like that. And I know I can come across really strong with it, but then I'm only saying what I say out of like, you know, not love, but like, you know, I want you to do what you want to do, but you're holding yourself back. And I'll tell you the easy way to do it. Like, you know, cross that bridge, you're going to get to the other side. Don't go over to that bridge and then come back to this bridge and then go down there and then come back up and get your armbands and come, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just walk across that bridge. You're going to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of effort. And realistically, nothing bad is going to happen to you. I think 9 out of 10 times, I can't even think of something bad that would happen to you, especially in Magic. Like, it's the most accepting community there is in gaming, probably. You know what I mean? It accepts everybody from all walks of life. Doesn't matter about your gender, your religion, like the color pie that you choose. Damn you blue players. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Yeah, damn control players and those counter spells.
Yeah, Will's he's been talking here about obviously all this stuff he's done for charity. I got given this in this brown thing. I got given a foil rare sheet for being nice at an Axion event, and Alex,
That's
unfortunately, is a control player. So there's 2 nice guys plus a control player on the
Sorry, Will.
Awkward.
I'm sorry. I know. I know. It's fine. It's fine. But once you get past that, you realize, yes, so that's my arsehole factor, because I will play control and be that person. But I'm also the type of person that when I see someone that's about to win, instead of being like, I'm just going to stop you because, and then we're going to sit here for another 2 hours and play an EDH game.
Yeah.
I'm nice enough that I'll go, do you know what? let's scoop this up, let's start again. Because
what you do, you protect yourself and then you win on the next turn.
well, I mean, I have been known to do that.
I'm currently literally in the process at the minute. Like, I'm kind of bidding for a casting gig, and I'm specking for. I know the guy. Like, I've worked with him a bunch as well. I worked for him a bunch, and I'm like, oh, I want this gig. So he's like, yeah. So do another bunch of people, and then I'm like, well, I don't know who else can do it better than me besides this person, this person, this person. I'd pick these 3 people are in the bidding for it. I would put these 3 people in front of me. Like, I'm always been about best person for the right job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, even if it means sacrificing myself, and again, ego takes a hit in that. And I just think there's a lot of, it's who you know, not how hard you work. And I hate that, by the way. It's one of my biggest grips in Magic, that I see people almost given things without earning it. And just because of, they've got a couple of clicks or some status online, which I'm sure to get to that point, they had to work hard for it and they're just reaping the rewards. But again, that ego kicks in and you're like, why are they getting that when I've worked so hard from that? Because we all obviously were self-indulgent and we've got egos that we have to scratch, which as a competitive player is all you, and coverage is what they need. Right? I've always said, if you could put someone on a feature match, that scratches their ego. If you have a leaderboard that they can look at, it scratches their ego. If you have player profiles on the stream, that scratches the ego, and people watching that sees those players having their ego scratched.
More exposure.
In your head, you're like, if I go to those events and I grind hard, I'll see myself on there. I'll be able to get that. But like, sometimes you see people and you're like, but then I don't know the whole story either. So that's the other thing. I always think that there's 2 heads to either story. People see me and they're like, why is that dick being, casting the Pro Tour? There's actually a real famous streamer that kind of said that. They're like, I don't even know what he does. Why is he on the Pro Tour? You know what I mean? What has he done to deserve that? And I was just like, if only you fucking knew. If only you fucking knew that I've done more casting gigs in the last 11 months than anybody in Magic the Gathering. But it's just because, you haven't watched them that you don't know that. And people don't do that. They go to socials and it is what it is. I think just because I think people don't deserve it doesn't mean that they don't deserve it. I'm sure they've worked to that point, but I haven't took the time out of my day to research that. I'm just going to sit in my little cave and be like, God damn it, why are they getting it over me? And it is what it is. But then on the flip side, I get to see a lot of my friends succeed, and I'm like, let's go, let's succeed. Like, one of my friends qualified for the Pro Tour this weekend, and I was sat there buzzing about it. I was like, yes, let's go. Benton Manson, shout out to you, my friend. You might remember him from Pro Tour for Exit, all be one.
Yeah.
But he lost in the finals to Reed Duke.
Yep. Yep.
He's there.
If there's
he's awesome.
If there's one thing that I always am a massive fan of, I've said this on the pod beforehand, I'm a massive fan of watching old Pro Tour footage. But actually, a lot of I go onto your Twitch a lot more than I'd like to admit, actually, sometimes, because
he's a lurker.
I am a lurker.
Watch this. Do you sub?
I did not know.
Oh, it got awkward. Do you hear that pause, chat?
Oh.
That was so awkward. All your listeners are like,
oh, not even the prime sub.
No.
Yeah, no, not even the prime sub.
They don't seem to.
It's a charity.
They don't seem to give me my prime subs anymore. I need to chase that.
Really?
I had a couple because
Yeah.
you get one once a month. I don't do it. No.
Yeah, you have to click subscribe, and then you can move a little slider over to use the prime sub.
Yeah.
I'm gonna defend myself here because I consume most of my stuff. I consume most of my content sat in front of my computer, and we've got a Samsung TV. And about 3 months after I got this Samsung TV, for some reason, the Twitch app just went, "No, I'm not working anymore." So the only place I can watch it is when I'm sat in front of a computer, which I do. If I'm building decks, I will have my computer on, and I've normally got YouTube or Twitch or something like that. But that's probably the part of the main reason as well. But it's just such easy viewing. It really is. I love watching.
Yeah.
I love watching the best players sitting down and dueling it out. It is
we spoke about
great.
this many times, right, offline. Like, me and you spoke about about coverage and all this. Like, and that's all I want. If I wasn't there casting it, I'd be at home watching it.
Yeah.
Like, I am just a fan of competitive Magic. I'll do anything in my power to put either more shows on, be part of shows, improve those shows. Even on Twitter, I get tagged so much of people having problems with some of the event organizers going, "Hey, I've tried to do this or this date or this other," and I'm lucky enough because I know people. I have their WhatsApps. They regret giving me the WhatsApps really quick because I just take the problem, screenshot it, and send it directly to them, and then it gets fixed. There's no, you know, it can get lost in the ether, especially some of the big companies on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, the amount they must get tagged.
It's fair enough.
And,
Yeah.
you know, blah, blah.
It's fair.
You only really see the hate on Twitter, right? You know, what I mean, you never. It's rare you see success stories. It's always people jumping on the bandwagon of things they don't know. They just
Drama of the week.
Yeah, Steve and John, and that's I hate that whole mobs scenario thing. But let's not get into that. It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it truly is.
I would say even if you only play EDH, just go and check out some of the VODs. You know, we just had, I guess, there's the VODs of Will casting over the weekend here.
Yeah, they'll go on YouTube at some point.
Yeah, they are on YouTube. I watched them yesterday.
Yeah, so even just from my perspective, I only play EDH, right, and pre-releases, and it's still just fun to watch.
Yeah,
you know, give it a go.
Do you know what?
I try to put the passion behind it. That's the thing. Like I come at it with the passion of a viewer. Like I show my true expressions when like someone top decks for the win. I'm like, okay, they need to hit that and they need to hit it now. And it's one thing that I watch a lot. I watch a lot of content. I consume a lot of content, especially live content. And I think it's something that some casters have it down, some don't, of building up the situation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it comes down to a top deck, I'm like, you know, okay, it's 2-1 apiece coming into this round now, everything on the line, down to this draw step. If they rip this, they're going to continue playing, or they're going to win the match. And you kind of hype it up right to the point where the player eventually draws the card, which is obviously a hard skill because some people would like to take forever to take the, you know, pass the turn and rip that top card. But you got to build it, and then when they top deck it, there is like oh my god, it's a lightning helix, it's lightning helix up the top. You know what I mean? Like getting those sort of things. It's still a skill I'm trying to learn and get better at. And I always ask for feedback from for people that I admire in the casting world, like Cory Barmeister. I think is genuinely
he's
one of the best casters, if not the best caster.
I love his reactions. They're so genuine.
They're pure. That's it. It's a genuine reaction. But oh man, I've got nothing but praise for this guy. Like honestly, takes his time out of his day to help anybody as well. He's got so much going on. He's so successful. But we'll still take time to like give me pointers on casting, because as I spoke about really like at the start of this podcast, there's 2 different roles, and being paired with someone that doesn't know those roles, and it's happened before, but you know, especially in my shows, when we basically pit 16 amazing content creators or players together, and we make them play. 2 of them play and 2 of them will commentate, and some of them have never done commentary before, and they don't know the roles of it, and they can't talk over each other and stuff. And I've seen Cory, because he plays in a lot of our shows, have someone that doesn't know what's going on. They just think they need to keep talking and keep talking and keep talking. And how he's able to manage that situation without talking over them, unless you kind of know, you wouldn't see it. But oh man, I was in awe when he did it. I was like, I literally messaged him after. I was like, Cory, man, you just give us all a chance. You know what I mean? Like I can't compete. I cannot compete with that. He is honestly so good, so passionate, done everything in the game, puts in so much work but behind everything that he does. And the fact that he goes out his way and gives me advice. Like I had a big problem where I would never call a game until it was over, if that makes sense. Like even though you're super dead on board, you've got no cards in hand, you're at 1 life, your opponent's got a full grip of cards and a whole board, I'd be like, oh, they might top deck their way. You know, I would kind of try and think of a reason that they can not lose. And I still do it now in some instances. But really, at some point, you just say they're completely dead. We're just going through the motions here at this point, and that's where you've got to earn your money as a play-by-play. How do you keep a conversation going that keeps the viewers engaged, keeps it interesting, while everybody that's watching this knows that this game is over? Mm-hmm. Like it's just learning those sort of skills and going through it. Weirdly, I do actually have them. I was wondering if I had them in front of me. I have these in front of me, which no one can see besides you guys. But these are just some cards that I put some stickers on and wrote like different scenarios on. So like, you know, and I'll time myself. I'll put a clock on the screen. I'll start like I'll do an intro, and then top card, top deck. They've top decked. I've got to react to a top deck for 30 seconds. Next 30 seconds is okay. There's technical problems. The video has gone out. I've got to talk for it. Okay, now we're going to talk about the prizes for 30 seconds. Okay, there's a judge call. The match is over. We're into sideboarding. Back to the match. Keep going. You know what I mean? Like, I just shuffle these up, and that's like how I will practice. I'll just do that, turn them over, and
that's great.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really
top
cool.
deck. Oh, they just hit a top deck. That is exactly what they need to get out of this game. They are now back in clicking it. They'll be able to string a few of these off to do that. It's okay. Next, the cameras that they've gone out. We're going to get a technical team on that. We're going to try and get in through that. And you're just doing that practice continuously. The idea is to get 60 cards like that, but I've only got up to about 10.
Hi everyone, sorry to cut in, but as we're having so much fun chatting with Will, we've decided to split this pod into 2 halves. We hope you're enjoying part 1, and part 2 will be released really soon. Hope to see you there.